Check. Can I hear myself? Sounds like I heard myself. All right. Welcome to anybody that's joining the room here. We'll just let some people file in. As you can see, my SPY chart here is rather ugly. So we've had a lot of selling. I'll start off with Steve, the trader talk here. As people file in. Hello, Mara. We got a little ahead of ourselves on the downside on the gap down opening yesterday, Monday morning. Thank you, Patrick. And kind of what do we call that? An oversold bounce up into today with kind of a fake out gap up. Faked me out. I came long some stuff. Would have been smart to have sold stuff on the open, but stubbornly, I'm just back in cash. This action is really gross. And highlighting this right here, I was basically just saying if this area can't hold, this 10 SMA here, it's time for me to just cut loose with what I think is going to go higher, and I did. And I'm kind of thankful that I did because this is ugly. Again, this is a 10 SMA rolling over, pretty steep line. And as I said, we kind of gapped up and shot right into what I call the armpit. And when stocks or markets are rolling over or in a downtrend, popping back up into the rolling over moving averages looks like an armpit. And it's not always a great place to be hoping for something. There's a lot of crosswinds here, a lot of crosswinds or headwinds, I mean to say. Price action headwinds, moving average headwinds. That's a brick wall to turn around and have to get back through. What's the catalyst going to be for us to do that? I don't know if there is one at the moment. So technically speaking, for the next 30 minutes, we could just bounce right back up here. But today's market, looking at the SPY here, I'm just notable was the first break here. And now I'm just going to see if this 10 SMA has got anything to say about any short-lived bounce that could occur. Let's see, where's the 130? Okay, so the 130 is right above us, and this is sloping lower as well. Look at that, the 5-day moving average. Perfect ceiling there on spiders on Friday. We can't even get close to test it here. And the moving and the slope is starting to come. This is very bearish, guys. I'm not in the slight bit bullish. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm in all cash after this morning. Took some lumps after a good day yesterday, and I'm just happy to be back in cash. I see a lot of red coming through my tickers here. Same thing with the NASDAQ. Look at the NASDAQ showing me why I use the 5-day moving average. Support, 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 support. Oh my God, if that support gives way, watch out. It did. And now that support became resistance, 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 pivot. A lot of space here, a lot of space here. Very bearish. Not a constructive time, I think, to be jumping in and trying to buy dips, in my opinion. Rum is one of the ones I got out of this morning, Patrick. Got out of half, and then I got out of the other half on a stop. Just horrible action over there. And I really expected the price to hang on to this 20 SMA, and when it took out these lows, just get me out. I think I got out of some here, and I got out of some here. So I'm taking that as a cue. I've been around long enough to know when things get brutally difficult, and this morning seems to be one of those cases where brutally difficult to try and ride your longs into any more upside because that upside is gone. Now, again, we've sold off here for the last 2 hours. Nothing that says we can't just turn around and give a light, soft-hearted bounce here over the next 30 minutes. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, welcome. We can talk about whatever you guys would like to talk about. Teased by Dan's position write-up on X. I don't know which one that was. POS write-up on X. Teased. Yeah, Dan will tease you. Be careful. No, I'm kidding. He'll probably be back tomorrow. For those that want to hear the CEO's vision of the company, he'll be back this time tomorrow. But for today, I'm here to help people with trading or look at charts. Oh, positive on rum, yeah. Yeah, Dan laughs at me. He calls me the artful dodger because we have two different ways. Dan will look at the assessment and the story and he'll just ride out the storms, whereas I'm much more artful and nifty and nimble, I like to think, to where I can say, hey, I'm just going to cut this one for the day. I could probably buy it back cheaper tomorrow. And that's helped me a lot lately, not getting married to these things, just really focusing on what the price action is telling me. You know, won't call it a breakup. We'll call it a fight. In Holly Trade, can you sort on entry date? You should be able to. Let's take a look. Here's the strategy trades. So if we turn off the profitables, there's nothing really going on. So double click. You see that? I'm just double clicking the header there. And I think the same would work, if you went to history, you wanted to look at a week's worth of history. You could look at them by entry times, or you could look at them by longs. You could look at them by profits. Just double click on the header there, and that should get you where you need to be. I will add, though, if you go to that long-term menu, let's see, we'll go back to real time. The long-term menu is a thumbnail, so we can't really do that. Use thumbnails down here. There's small charts. There's 21 charts, 17 charts, and we're just kind of clicking through them like a slideshow. That's the only one that's not sortable. All right, getting little greens. Little greens. Yep. Probably would make sense for the market to stop right here. I was just looking right there. We got the low of yesterday and the high of Friday. Low of Friday and the high of yesterday. So it's kind of a pivot point. That's not surprising that the market's either the shorts are taking profits here, or it's always a back and forth, you guys. It doesn't matter trying to figure out who is who. You got buyers and sellers, and you got greed and fear. You just mix up that pot, and that's all we're looking at. And I choose to look at it on the 15-minute time frame because I feel like I can make the most sense of that. Again, if we go back and look at what I was showing you on the NASDAQ, this is again why I use this. Again, this is 130 SMA. So I've got an indicator with 130 SMA. And the reason is if you divide that by 5 trading days, 15-minute candle increments, you get exactly 130 candles. So we're averaging out, smoothing out, I should say, to give us a nice, clearer picture here. I like looking at the 5-day smoothed out on a 15-minute chart versus just another line here, right, on my daily chart. So back to the point, if you missed it, this is a tremendous pivot point, an area of interest acting as support, and then it gave way. And what once gives way as previous support will develop as future resistance. So this alone right here, this action tells me all I need to know, because, in the heat of the moment, I might be looking to say, hey, I just need the market to hold on here. I need the market to hold on here. Oh, the market gave way. It broke. I'm going to go ahead and get out of my longs. That's what I mean when I say it's an area of interest. It can be different for everybody. Maybe somebody's licking their chops to go short, and they're going to use this break of that 5-day moving average to initiate a short position. But for me, it's more of, just keeping tabs on what the general flavor of the market is. You cannot enable any trading strategies to run pre and post market. Well, and I'll tell you why. We literally do that for your own protection, because you can use, you can manually trade limit and sell, limit buy, limit sell, limit buy, limit sell. In your live account, you can manually send those orders. But as far as a scan that is automated, that sends the order for you automatically because the scan triggered, we protect you in the morning from doing that, because the volume and the liquidity is much less, and there's much more of an opportunity to get bad fills, bad slippage. So we're trying to avoid any, uh, real life bad slippage because of the low volume and low liquidity in pre-market. So again, you can trade them manually if you see something you like. In other words, let's say a pre-market scan popped out and you got a symbol. Well, you can't connect the brokerage plus to trade it automatically in the pre-market, but you can look at and pull it up and type the symbol and send an order in your live account using the brokerage plus interface to interactive brokers, if that's what you're using. So manual only for pre-market and post-market. Let's see, I was looking at my XRP, but oh, there we go. That makes me happy. That's a 4-hour chart. Let's go to a daily chart. Some of you guys know that I've been pounding the table and long XRP since 50 cents. That's right. Since back here, I was kind of stacking XRP, following the story. Elections were good for crypto, and all of a sudden, the SEC woes of XRP kind of disappeared. And what do you know? It doesn't matter if you're looking at stocks or crypto. Here's the 50-day moving average. I kind of use that like that 5-day. But this tells me that the buyers don't even want to let this thing get close to the 50-day moving average. That might have been the head fake before the move here. So with that speaking, we've got this coming up as a target. And if we can clear this, I think $3 is in play, because look at the way this thing has spent 6 weeks here. You can consolidate in one of two ways. You're welcome, Will. You can consolidate sideways, which is the strongest of the two. All right. The price resolves out of this. This is what we hope to see. Or price can consolidate with, and let me rephrase that. Price can consolidate with time, or it can consolidate with actual pullback in price. And so this one is the more desirable of the two, whether it's any stock or any crypto. On most time frames, when you have a big move, in this case, it's a daily move, and then from that move, it's worked off with only sideways, that's extremely bullish. All right. So yeah, that makes me happy. So let's see that level right there. If we eyeball it, let's look at about 270. If it can take out 272, 273, 10 cents from now, it's a straight shot to the 290. And I think we see $3 pretty soon. All right, back to stocks. Hello, Jim. Brokerage Plus works pre and post manually. It won't work with market orders. It should work with limit orders. Also, let me pull it up here. There is a nuance I probably should address, because there's one more option in the menu. Okay, you see this right here. Paper trading should be able to do pre and post down here. I don't know why it's not doing that for me. Hang on a second. I'm going to open up a new panel. Something's weird about that. Okay, so buy. Oh God, what am I missing? Yours is locked. Okay, I think I ran into this. Let me ask Chris what the deal is. I don't use Brokerage Plus, obviously, and sometimes things get goofy. Let me ask Chris. I know there's something and it's not intuitive. Yeah, I'm doing sim too. So it's not live. It's doing sim. Needs to be a limit order. That's what it is. Gosh, it's not intuitive. So let's look at it like this. We've got to go through the order of succession. So stock, okay, buy, then market has to be changed to limit. And there we go. That's what it is. Ta-da. There we go. I knew it was something. So that's what you need, Jim. A little bit of extra steps there, pre-market and whale, definitely geared to you as well. If I access the site through the, you're welcome. If I access the site through the web interface, I cannot enable brokerage connection. Yeah, you only can be trading live accounts here through the Windows app. The API is just not going to translate to a web version. The web version is really good for just, manual Holly alerts, scans, some docked channel bars. But when it comes to like Brokerage Plus, it's just non-existent on the web version. So B Plus is literally a Windows API function. There's just nothing we can do to change that. And now I'm all excited about crypto here. XRP 65. We're just cruising. XLM looks like it could be ready to do something as well. I'm in some of that. Hopefully that's what we get there. H-bar, I'm in some of that as well. Looks like everything's kind of lining up nicely here for maybe the next couple of days in crypto. Let's check in on the NASDAQ. Yeah, it's bouncing just kind of like I thought it might for the last 20 minutes as I started talking. As I came live, the market was heading to lows, but I said we were probably a bit oversold and probably wouldn't be a bad idea to bounce back up into these moving averages. And this is really what I'm going to be watching now. What happens here when the rubber meets the road of the SPY? If they come back into that moving average, and respectively the Qs. Based on the market action we've seen, I fully expect that level to be sold. So if I'm not with you guys an hour and a half, 2 hours from now, that's kind of what I'm seeing. And again, when we go over to the daily chart, this is an absolute brick wall. The 10 is now crossing below the 50. We've spent 4 days of trading underneath the 50 in the NASDAQ, 3 days today. This is very bearish. So that's why I'm in cash in my swing account. And I'm just not looking to do a whole lot. I don't mind doing some day trading here and there. I'll tell you what, guys, since they changed the T+3, T+2, now it's T+1, trade date +1 business, you are getting overnight resets. And that has been just a game changer for a cash account like the 401k that I trade, because I'm allowed to trade it here during the day. Encouraged to, by the way, which is great. No other job has that. Now I get to just say, you know what, why don't I just sell this, and move that 25,000 to tomorrow's cash. And the ability to reload the cannon overnight has been a game changer for me, and it really helped me in the fourth quarter. Now, with that said, apparently we're moving towards what we call quantum settlement. And that, coincidentally, is a perfect discussion with why I like XRP. XRP is a payment system. It's a money processor. It allows you to move money from one currency to another, cross borders, and settle in 3 seconds. So I'm sitting here talking to you guys about T+3, then T+2. And I'm excited that we now have overnight settlements. Well, we're going to sub 5-second settlements. And once everything becomes tokenized, whether it's stocks or art or real estate or cars, any type of asset can be tokenized. And if you start transacting back and forth, these settlements can be done within 3 seconds. And so that's the future that we're moving into. All right, I missed a sign here, I think. Oh, the web browser is a tough one. If you have the ability to do Windows, or if you don't, and you have the abilities to get like an emulator or a virtual desktop like an AWS or a Microsoft 360 desktop, which allows you to run Windows processors on your Mac, that's really the best way to go. Oh yes, yes. So the app on the reset connection. Let me just show you. Like if I were to go here into my personal account, which by the way, you guys, you can now you have your information, your subscriptions. You can. I don't have a subscription because it's a house account, but you can manage all your subscriptions here now. It's been really refined and updated. Just a quick observation there. Now look, notice I've got live data, whether it's the dashboard, the Trade Ideas dashboard, or if I went to the Trade Ideas web version, I'm going to steal the data and look what happens. Oh, well, it didn't yet. It should turn red. Let me do this here. There it is. Okay, you see that? You can only run one device at a time and bring in live data. So once I brought up this account, started clicking through my settings, it stole the live data. So to bring it back where it's just a constant, yeah, keep an eye on that red ball, a constant having to reset connection, and we'll steal and bring the live data back in, and there we go. And by the way, we just didn't have much of a bounce there, did we, in the market? We're kind of getting wishy-washy here again. All right, I think I'm all caught up on questions. I'm happy to always look at charts, any chart requests. And if there's anybody over there on X, obviously we're broadcasting here from the Trade Ideas YouTube account. So if you wanted to ask a question, feel free to come over to the YouTube account for Trade Ideas and click into the live. And you can come in and use the questions panel, because otherwise, if you're typing away on Twitter X, I can't see you. But again, I'm happy to demonstrate anything you want to see. I'm happy to. I haven't done much with the money machine today. A little bit of light testing. I've got it turned off at the moment, which is a good segue, because when the money machine does go live, which is the auto trader, you have the ability to turn your back if you want to. I can't do that on the market. I can't turn the back. But if I'm watching the market and I know I've got a bunch of longs programmed in that money machine and the market breaks down through my key moving averages, I can go over there and turn that off. So there's always going to be that element to it. Okay, Maui Trader. Yeah, is there a way to save chart settings time frame to come up with whatever channel you choose on the channel bar? The only way I can think of that, I'm looking to have it always come up with the dark theme. Okay, so first off, I would use a docked channel bar. And then we can just, for instance, go into particular, it doesn't matter which one, particular scan. Hang on a second. Okay, let me turn that off. All right. So from here, obviously when we click, it's turning all of my, should be turning all of my charts. I thought it was, maybe not. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's a different channel. Let me try a different channel. We'll just do explosive winners. And I believe when I click on these, I should be changing symbols. Nope. Okay, so this is why. If I right click and I go to symbol linking, notice that this is the first step. When we do a dock window, it looks like what they've done now is they've already done that for us as a default. When we open up a new docked window, it's going to use the color code of which charts to link to. That's why when I click in a symbol here, it's not showing up on my other free-floating windows behind. So right off the bat, you've got your own little window of only having it the way you want it. So what I would do is I would say you could right-click and make any of the changes that you want to the chart, chart style. You can make your chart changes here with colors and things like that. And then once you've made all the changes you want, I would minimize that unless you want to keep it up. Of course, you can always keep it up. But the point being is once you've made those changes, Maui Trader, what you want to do is this. You want to save your layout and lock in those changes, because if you close the program after you've made some changes without saving this as a layout, when you open the program next time, it's not going to be there and it gets frustrating. So whether you keep this docked window open, or what you could consider doing is minimizing it, right? And maybe you've got a couple docked windows that all have different configurations. Just get them set up the way you want, get them positioned where you want, minimized or not, and then save your layout and allow the system to name it default layout. If you change the name, it won't open back up where you want it. So I think that could help Maui Trader and just configuring the way you want. Usually it comes down to getting the changes you want and then saving the layout. So when you come back and open the product, it's there again. And again, when you open those docked windows, you can use the symbol linking to make sure you're only changing those charts that you want to change using the color code. And the time frame too. You would change that time frame and then save your layout. So every time you start the product, that docked window is going to have your settings. If drop the connection, even if you used delayed. Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but what you can do is you can go into this box right here in this gear wheel. Let me see here. Okay, click the gear wheel and we can change that to delayed. So every time I click into this, now you see it's refreshed. You've got a yellow delayed. That in itself should keep the green flowing on your main Trade Ideas layout. How high did that get? 267. Bitcoin just not really doing a whole lot. Bitcoin is below its 50-day moving average, whereas XRP is bouncing to the upside. That's where all the strength is right now. Okay, looks like we're caught up. Again, if anybody's over there on X and you wanted to ask a question, or you want to look at a chart, I'm always happy to look at charts. Just be prepared for the unvarnished truth. Sometimes you don't hear the opinion you might want, but maybe that's what you need to hear. You never know. But as we speak, bottom of the hour here, I just see these up moves that are attempted are quickly sold, as indicated by these 15-minute wicks here. It's not what you want to see if you're looking for a big bounce. Our GTI, Andy and I both tried that one yesterday, and we tried to play it off the 50-day. And what we did is I called it a risk reward trade. So I bought it here. And I said, I'm sorry, I bought it like here. But this is my stop. I said, I'm gonna play this bounce and this bounce only because it's corresponding here with the 50-day moving average after a precipitous fall from 20. So I basically bought it and immediately turned around and I set my stop at new lows. And I didn't talk myself out of it. I got excited here, but I didn't talk myself out of it. I wanted to sell it here, but I just said, let it stop out. And it stopped out. And it was a small paper cut. And I'll do that all the time. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Jumping in back here, I would not have seen a reason. I love my moving averages. You know, there's a gap fill, but I feel comfortable buying when it bounces at a moving average. And if it can't hold that bounce and move higher, then I'll just define my risk. And the reason I like to do that is because trading is a mental game. And the more you can do to take yourself out of it, the better. Because you'll find a way to talk yourself in or out of things all day long as things develop and change. All right, I think I'm caught up with questions. Good, hello, hi there. 1967, is that the year you're born? It's the year I was born. Great year. Old school Gen X, the real Gen X, the latchkey kids. So again, trading wise, just looking at the SPY and Qs, very, very shallow oversold bounces here, which is all that really is. And as I'm kind of preparing to see what the price action does when the moving average and the price meet, if they do ever meet again. So if you're late, I am not bullish at all. I'm in cash. I'm sitting aside with risk off the table. This morning was kind of brutal. I was looking for some moves and higher prices and things that I brought in. But once we broke definitively here in this moving average, my 10 SMA here, this is my bread and butter line. We needed to hold this level right here. If we didn't hold it, I quickly start ripping the Band-Aid off. And so far, so good. It saved me a little bit today, but still a red day for me. Coming off a green day, but that's how it goes. IWM, we haven't looked at that one yet. Yeah, that one. Oh, again, you guys, here's why I use the 5-day moving average. Look at that. You know, if you were long IWM and you're saying it's got to get through here. If it can't get through here, I've got to get out. You had a whole hour of messing around there and then rejected. This is why I use this indicator. It's Steve today. Yesterday was Chris. You downloaded trade ideas. I don't know how to configure them based on the chat room settings that I'm following. Well, if there's a whole list of if you have a list of details of of what it is you're trying to emulate in somebody else's chat room, and you excuse me, and you have those details and that data, it might be best to email us with that. However, here I can try to formulate the basic foundation of something and help walk you through it if you know exactly what it is you're looking for. Hello, what are your criteria for short squeeze play? So right off the bat, I've got a scan here. You'll notice that's a short squeeze. And everything I click through here, you pay attention to that data point right there. 31%. STEM has 31% short. So the criteria means, I guess we could just look at the configure and say, what's the minimum? 20%. So I want to see at least 20% short, and I want to see a decent chart. Well, STEM was decent last week, but now it's just all over the place. It's crazy. RGTI, this was another one of the reasons I just spoke that Andy and I tried it yesterday at that 50. 3 reasons. 1, contrarian, giant sell-off. 2, sitting at that blue 50-day moving average. And 3, a short float of just over 20%. 3 strong reasons for me to try and consider taking a stand. But as I mentioned yesterday, I bought here on that bounce and I immediately put my stop in. So for about an hour and a half, I just had to let it grind and then stop me out. That's the most I was willing to do on a trade like that. So, criteria, it's got to have a high short float. But 2, I don't want to see things in a downtrend like this. I'd rather see things that are like consolidating or maybe trying to bounce higher. This doesn't look bad. So what you would say back here is this was definitely a short squeeze. And then the sellers got a hold of it again. But at the 20-day SMA, they're trying to fight it again. So I would say, you can come in and say, if it takes out the high, I'll put a price alert in. This is probably another good way to finish off the question I'm at is you look at the charts and you go, okay, I'm guessing if I buy it here, but if this thing takes off and takes out those highs again, maybe I'm not guessing. Maybe the shorts are going to be running for the hills. And so you create a price alert on an idea that you have brewing, but the price alert becomes your actionable moment where if the price triggers it, it'll pop up in your face and you will see it. Here's a great example of how, the 200-day moving average just won't let this thing out of its grasp. Look at this. It wanted to go so bad, but the 200-day moving average has other plans for it right there, just like it head back here and here and here and here. Crazy. And by the way, I will type in the email for if you need some details, if you need to send us details on a scan that you're trying to copy from another room, info@trade-ideas.com. You just send the email with the details to that address, and it'll take us some time. We can try and build something. PDT Trade Ideas Scanner. My chat room is the PDT. Well, let me ask you this. If PDT Trade Ideas Scanner and you subscribed to them, is there any reason they can't share with you that scan? Because look, for the person who asked about my short squeeze, I can say, here's my scan. I'm going to save this to a cloud link code, save and share and copy. And then I just pop it in here. So is there a reason that they can't give you that code rather than leave you alone to build it yourself? And I would ask them for sure if there's a way to do that, because that would save you and us a lot of work. And if you're subscribing to them, you'd like to think they would do that. Oops. Somebody was asking me a question. All right, looks like we're all caught up. Again, if somebody has a chart you're fretting over and you're not quite sure, I'd be happy to give you my 2 cents. This realm probably wants to test 973. Somebody was asking me about that. Okay. So they're not, in case if they're not going to share your setup, their setup. Well, I have no idea what the PDT thing is or what they do or how they scan or what they want. If you're able to, and they're not willing to share it with you, if you're able to tell us what it is they're scanning for, we can try and emulate. Reset Santa for small cap. Not necessarily. I mean, other than, you could you can open up any particular, like say pre-market. Okay. Notice I clicked a button at the bottom that said more. This pre-market is popular. People come in the day, the market hasn't opened yet, and they want to see what's gapping up. Well, what you could always do is you could just right click in this tree map here and say, I want to put a price filter in there, or I want to put market capitalization filter in there. But, chances are a price of something under $5, $1 to $5, you could put a maximum in there. Okay, then I've launched it, and now all of a sudden, boom, look at that. It's shuffling around, but it's only showing me small cap names. Well, from there, you would just save this configuration as your default layout, any change you make. So you're overriding, the custom features. You could do that with any channel. You can do that with explosive winners and only look at small caps. When you go to right click and configure under filters, that's where you can add a price volume. So 50 cents, you could cap that at $8 if you wanted. So it's always available for you. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you make that change, you save that. Like I said, save your layout and default layout so that when you open your program again, it will always be the way you left it. Okay, but yeah, again, I shared that email with you. If you have any idea of what they're scanning for, we'll do our best to try and emulate what it is they're charging you for. Um, I know Chris Verma has a room full of people. Chris Verma is also an instructor, and he has about 5 or 6 scans that he gave to us and said, when people from my room come and ask for these scans, please give them to them. So that makes much more sense to me. Okay, so if we just want to make a real simple scan, we can say new alert window. So alert window will give us only things that are making new highs or new lows. So I'm going to start with that. So stocks making new highs. However, these are stocks that are between, say, 50 cents and $5. I don't have a news filter, but when you put a high amount of relative volume in there, like say five times normal volume, you're going to have news behind it. It doesn't matter what the headline is. So that's a way to, say, hey, this stock is acting on some sort of catalyst, likely news. 5 times relative volume minimum would get you what you need. Low float, you said that. So here's our float filter. So we want to cap the shares. We want to have a maximum amount of shares. And I would say anything under 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5 million would be low float. You can obviously change that, but that's what we have. These 1 minute and 5 minute volumes, these are just nice additional confirmation that you're getting, decent volume in the 5 minute and 1 minute time frame periods. Just do double. And if I launch something like this, right off the bat, we're gonna get GLXNG. Here's oh, look at this, it's coming to life. Doing 8 times relative volume right there. That's important. It's under $1.50. The float, it's a minuscule float of 262,000 shares. So between 1 and 30, you said. Let me fix that. Configure. And since you're doing the price up to 30, I guess we have to add a market cap. Low float might actually just keep that. I don't want to add too much stuff, so let's just change that. One thing only, we still get GLXNG. Now, if I run a history for today, we've seen a lot of GLXNG, MTNB, another one coming to life. That's not a bad looking scan. So I'm going to just put it back on real time. And I think I got everything you just asked for right there. Now I'm going to share this with you so you can open it. I've copied that. Let's change the names so we have a little bit more context here. Configure. Okay. Low float. New highs. Pretty similar. Everything else is self-implied volume and things like that. Don't need to go overboard. So I'm going to share this iteration with you. Now, if you don't know what to do on that, just right click and select copy link address. And so you're copying the link address to your cloud. or to your clipboard, excuse me. And then when you open the file load from cloud, I think you have to actually paste it here from YouTube. I don't know why, but we paste it there. And then you can load that and look at that. You'll have a copy of what I just made. And then, of course, most importantly, put it where you want to put it on your screen and save that layout as your default layout. And every time you open the program, you're going to have that scan for you. Now, you don't have to go find it. All right, so the SPYs and Qs are still hanging in here, but we're coming into what I call the inflection point here, you guys, where the 10 SMA is going to have something to possibly say about the price here. Odds favor a new push to lows. But if we don't, if I'm wrong and I'm against the odds and we turn up with a green candle and close up like that with green, then forget everything I'm saying about going lower. We're going to just keep fighting. So that's why I call it an inflection point. I just want to study the price action here and kind of see what comes of it. A buddy of mine was asking about rum, and hey, wouldn't you know, we pull up rum and it's exactly the inflection point that I want to see. This is where rum is either going to dig in. What I told him, though, however, is we're so close to this gap up. The way the algorithms bounce the price around, there's probably a lot of liquidity under here with stop orders and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised. We're so close to the neighborhood, we might want to just drop by and knock on the door. So I'm going to watch what happens there. I'm going to do so by doing it this way. I'm going to say, just let me know when the price gets there with a price alert. And then I can study how the price is reacting and I might jump back in. And when it does that, maybe this 50-day moving average is a little bit closer too. So I'd like to get back into Rumble. And boy, I got lucky. I took it home overnight here, sold some there and sold some there, and then tried to hang on and then sold the rest there. Anyway, back to the NASDAQ, back to the S&P and the Russell 2000. All three of these look a little scared and just sitting under the 10 SMA here. And that's pretty much been what the hour is when I signed on that I thought might happen. I signed on as the market was making lows, and I said, we got a little ahead of ourselves. Probably need a bounce up, a relief bounce, oversold bounce. But the action is going to start up again when we get this inflection point. All right. Anybody? I've got about another 6 or 7 minutes here with you before I got to go to a developers meeting. I personally will be back on Thursday. Andy will be here Friday. He's a swing trader like myself. Dan, the CEO, will be here tomorrow. If you want to show up and hassle him, just kidding. He can take it. But call it. I hope that works for you, that scan. Hope you're able to decode that and open it. Make it work for you. Green across the board there in crypto so far. All right. Well, again, if anybody has a chart you want me to look at, don't be shy. The trade of the week I am not in. Let's take a look at it. Chewy. People love their animals, don't they? They will continue to spend money on them in a bad economy. It's holding up. I mean, what can you say? It doesn't look like the rest of them. The S&P and the NASDAQ, they're down here below their 50. It's what we call relative strength. People are trying to save money and keep their animals happy and buying their stuff online. It's as simple as that. And the chart kind of confirms the story. The problem is the indexes are just a little sluggish today. So again, I'll be signing off in a few minutes here, but tomorrow, if you guys are tuning in through X and you want to come in to the live stream, just go to our YouTube channel, Trade Ideas, and find the live, and you can pop in the questions. And like I said, the CEO will be here tomorrow. Dan, can see what he's thinking. We probably have another 5 or 10 minutes here before these moving averages redraw and we start to get some more serious business. But that's all I'm watching at the moment. Again, I'm in cash. I'm not doing a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of conviction here today. Oklo was one of the ones I brought in long overnight, took it home here, and should have just sold here and here, but went for a wild roller coaster ride, then wound up selling here. Just a lot of volatility and chop today. Mara, you're welcome. Thanks for the thumbs up. Yeah, I'll be scooting out of here in a few minutes. Unless one more question comes in that's relevant or non-relevant, it doesn't matter. I'll do my best to answer it. And just, a reminder, guys, especially you brand new Trade Ideas users, it's so hard to come into chat and like have us just drop links and screenshot. It's a much more conducive environment and a steeper learning curve for new users to come in and ask questions and let the host, demonstrate and speak. And if you have a follow-up question, we can follow up and show you and demonstrate. We can help you build it. We can share it with you like I've done. So it's really important to come in each day at 12 Eastern and get the support that you need. Okay, that'll help too. Yeah. If you got any sort of details on the scan they're using, grab that screenshot and email it to us, info@trade-ideas.com. And, just put the message scan help and, give us 24 hours to mess around with it. And we will get back to you. Hopefully that one that I dropped here earlier, you were able to open and just kind of play around with. But that's just, the beginnings of how powerful Trade Ideas can be if you kind of know what you're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, again, we've got the docked channel bar with ideas and pre-configured ideas. And as I showed a user earlier, you can take the preconceived ideas and you can change the time frames. You can change the configurations, the price levels. You don't want to look at that type of chart. You can look at a 5-minute chart. It's up to you what you want to do. But most importantly, once you've made changes, save them. Save your layout. Not in the cloud, but the actual layout. There's nobody that you can speak with. Just send it in and we'll get to it as soon as we can, depending upon how complex it is. But as I was saying, we don't have phones. There's just not much that can be done over a telephone. Whereas you can hear me here and you can also see me and I can visually demonstrate what needs to be done and share if needed. But the second best is we can help you on email, configure something on our time and deliver it back to you. But we're here every day from 12 Eastern to 1 Eastern, a different person each day. And we try to make ourselves available for people who need that help. I understand being a new subscriber and wanting to hit the ground running, but there is a lot that needs to be considered and learned along the way so you don't make any mistakes. And that's the reason we do this 12 o'clock session for people to help. Perfect way to end my segment. So with that said, appreciate you guys' questions. I'll be back on Thursday. Andy will be here Friday, and Dan will be here tomorrow, the CEO of Trade Ideas. So I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you guys next session. Thanks.